have mercy upon me, O Yahuwah, according to thy loving kindness, according to the multitude of thy tender mercies, blot out my transgressions. Wash me thoroughly from mine iniquity and cleanse me from my sin. For I acknowledge my transgressions, and my sin is ever before me. Against thee and thee only have I sinned, and have done this evil in thy sight, that thou mightest be justified when thou speakest, and be clear when thou judgest. Behold, I was shapen in iniquity, and in sin did my mother conceive me. Behold, I desire truth. Thou desirest truth in the inward parts, and in the hidden parts thou make me to know wisdom. Purge me with hyssop, and I shall be clean. Wash me, and I shall be whiter than snow. Hide thy face from my sin, and blot out all my iniquities. Create in me a clean heart, O Yahweh. Renew in me a right spirit within me. Cast me not away from thy presence, and take not thy Holy Spirit from me. Restore unto me the joy of thy salvation, and uphold me with thy free spirit. Then will I teach transgressors thy ways, and sinners shall be converted unto thee. Deliver me from the blood guiltiness, O God, thou God of my salvation, and my tongue shall sing aloud of thy righteousness. O Sanini Nanini, open my lips, and my mouth shall show forth thy praise. For thou desirest not sacrifice, else would I give it. Thou delightest not in burnt offerings. The sacrifices of God are a broken spirit, a broken and contrite heart, O God, thou wilt not despise. Do good in thy pleasure unto Zion, build thou the walls of Jerusalem. Then thou shalt be pleased with the sacrifices of righteousness, with burnt offerings and whole burnt offerings. Then shall they offer bullocks upon thine altar. Yes, Psalms chapter 51. Deliver me from the hands of evil spirits, who have swayed the thoughts of men's hearts, and let them not lead me astray from thee, my God. Establish thou me and my seed, that we go not astray henceforth and forever. Jubilees chapter 12 and verse 20. Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Yes, we give all praises to the power, even our God. For our God reigns. Our God reigns. Hallelujah. We thank God for all that he's done. We thank him for his mercy and his favor. We thank him that he given us a power of choice, and those choices determine our eternity. And we thank God for that. Yes. And also, we want to say thank God for those of you that have been with us since the beginning, and those of you that have been with us here and there's about, and those of you that have recently subscribed, and those of you who are about to subscribe and calling those things that are not as though they are. Yes, you're walking with Mr. Clay, and I'm Mr. Clay. Yes, and we're in the book of Samuel still. Samuel chapter 21. We understand in the last chapter that Israel and Judah had a split there. But David sort of kept that split from happening, but this was inevitable. This is like a preamble. Now, Israel did split from Judah and Benjamin. There was a split. There was a split before Jeroboam, I believe. Jeroboam or Rehoboam, which I confused the names, but there was a split well before them, which were the sons of Solomon. And one was one who was exiled by King Solomon. But the fact is that we see that this was inevitable, and it occurred with David. The thing that David did, it caused him to be separated and persecuted by his own blood. Then eventually his blood was demised by the Most High. Then again after that, there was still argument, and in other words, the kingdom was split. Now, this is only my hypothesis that God allowed even the time of Solomon to have the kingdoms together, that they might know what peace would be like. for that amount of time and reminisce on those things that were. Ever since after Solomon, that little brief moment of peace, there was no more peace for Israel, even to this day. Even to this day, because not of David, because of the choice that they've made before the Most High. In other words, you made a choice. This is the only free will we really have, is the freedom of choice to choose. Because there are entities in the world, even as acknowledged by Abraham, who was a prophet, a king, and the father of, should I say, the Hebrews. Yes, a father of Hebrews. And with that, he understood that there were entities in the land that would sway his mind. This is all you got, is a choice. He said, deliver me from the hands of evil spirits. Why are they evil? They're evil because they keep you from that which is good. In other words, from loving your neighbor as yourself, number 2. And number 1, from loving God with all your mind, heart, and soul. That choice they take away from you, because there's joy forevermore in loving God. And with loving God, which is the first and foremost of all the choices that we should make, versus our greed and our evil and our wanting to have power to be equal with God, and then the woman want to be equal with the man, and all these things, instead of, woman, you have power within your own right. But many of you have been deceived by evil spirits. You've been deceived by devils to make you think that you're less than what you are, but you're not. You have a power to create, the power that God had put in you, to that not only of human but also of animals and all kind of species upon the earth, to form your body not of your own will, but the only will you had was to lay down with that man. But the fact is, you created, you allowed your body created. God had fashioned your body that it can cause life to form inside your womb. That's a power. And then the next power is that you are the first teacher of that human being that comes out, male or female. You are the first teacher. You are responsible. You are responsible for the teaching, the first teachings, because this is where the child really gets his major thought patterns. It's major, should I say, habits and everything else is from its mother. It watches her. It sees her. It sees how she smiles, how she talks. It sees all these things, and then comes the father. If he's there by design, the spirits have caused, these evil spirits have come against the male, and that he is no longer celebrated. He is no longer spoken and sung of by the mothers that have birthed his children. No longer. But the father of spirits, just a brief, the father of spirits, we give him a name father, we give him the name creator, but God is an entity. Go into scientific circles, they bring you around in circles. Some things they understand, but they don't understand. They understand that there is something there. They believe, many of them do believe in God, but God is a power, God is an entity. But the ancients understood that who can know God by trying to find him out? You're trying to go at all mathematics and all these other things. These things are that throw you off. You cannot know God. God can maneuver around your mathematics. He can defy things that even your own common sense cannot explain. In him we move and have our being. There's a vastness to the Most High. This is bigger than what we all would imagine, those of you in your scientific circles. It's bigger. It's much vast. You can never know the intricacies of the tiniest molecules that God have delved into to cause life, and then the life within the life that keeps the life that you see only with your eyes going. Oh, it can get deep. But he said, just understand and know me. Understand and know me by your choice. That I am able, see and know I am he. Besides me, there is no other entity. Your Isis is just flesh. Your Muhammad and all these other people of prophets and all these people you follow are just flesh. But see and know that you understand God. How do we do that? Laws. There are laws for everything in the universe. Laws, and these laws are orchestrated by the power which we call God. So the scientific industry cannot understand you as a spiritual person. Neither would you really understand them as someone trying to figure creation or the creator out, or how we were created out. They're going to hit a stump somewhere all the time. But you who have assumed and had come to a summation, God, this is what they did back in the days of old. God, the power, is what it means, supposed to mean. The power for all of this. But nevertheless, we can continue, but we're going to continue that even as we get into, should I say, the apocryphal books, especially those of Esdras and all those other books. These things, they cover a lot of what the scientific industry would try to, it baffles them. Simplicity is God. He don't want you to understand all that stuff. He don't need you to understand that, because it's gonna drive you crazy. It's gonna blow your mind. But the fact is that we're in the book of 2 Samuel chapter 21. 2 Samuel chapter 21. As you prepare, God, our all in all. Yes. And it reads, then there was a famine in the days of David 3 years. Why was there a famine? Year after year, David inquired of the I Am, and the I Am answered, it is for Saul, for his bloody house, because he slew the Gibeonites. Now you can understand in the previous chapter where the kinfolks of Saul, which was Israel, which wanted to, or should I say the 10 tribes of Israel, who wanted to just separate. They wanted to come together. But the tribes of Judah and Benjamin wanted to be separate. They wanted to have their own king. So they chose David. And so this caused some animosity between them. And verse 2, and the king called the Gibeonites and said unto them, now the Gibeonites were not of the children of Israel, but of the remnant of the Amorites. And the children of Israel had sworn unto them, and Saul sought to slay them in his zeal to the children of Israel and Judah. Now the Gibeonites were the ones that came and fashioned themselves as old with tattered clothing and all this, and caused the children of Israel, even Joshua, to swear that they would not harm them. See, now this is where Saul did not look at this. He should have went elsewhere to subdue the Canaanitish people. Now, therefore David said to the Gibeonites, what shall I do for you? See, there's one law. There's one law. See, David even had to learn the hard way. There is one law. Although you're king, David, you don't succeed anyone that's trying to know and understand me, is what I see in my own hypothesis that God was trying to tell David. Now, what shall I do for you, and wherewith shall I make the atonement, that ye may bless the inheritance of the I Am? And the Gibeonites said unto him, we will have no silver nor gold of Saul. We don't want nothing he got, nor of his house. Neither for us shalt thou kill any man in Israel. He said, don't leave us alone. They knew they were Gentiles. And he said, but what ye shall say, that will I do for you. And they answered the king, the man that consumed us, that devised against us, that we would be destroyed from remaining in any of the coast of Israel. In other words, this Saul was deceived by evil spirits, tempted and tested to go against an easy prey, the Gibeonites. Okay? Now let 7 men of his sons be delivered unto us, and we will hang them upon up to the I am in Gibeah of Saul, whom the I am did choose. And the king said, I will give them. And the king spared Mephibosheth. These are the sons of Saul, the son of Jonathan, the son of Saul, because the I am's oath was between them, between David and Jonathan and the son of Saul. But the king took the 2 sons of Rizpah and the daughter Aiah unto whom she bare unto Saul, the daughter of Aiah. Now, Amoni and Mephibosheth and the 5 sons of Michal, the daughter of Saul, the 5 sons of Michal, the daughter of Saul, whom she brought up for Adriel, the son of Barzillai, the Methielite. Now, this was when Saul was he was exiled by his son. Yes, and this is the man that went behind her weeping. So apparently we see that she did have sons of this man. But David still took, that was his wife, period. Michal was his wife. And it was not fair that she should be given to another man when she was the wife of another man. Now these things happen. Listen, woman. Listen, man. We have many husbands and wives. Many of us, we have. Sex is marriage. When you have sex with the opposite sex, that is marriage. That is the consummation of marriage. Whether you made a vow or not, you consumed the marriage. That is a union there. You have become one. And that your union can create one. Maybe 2 or 3, depending on it. But either way, or more, respectfully. But either way, you create one. You've become one. You've joined yourself together in that fashion. Just as even the animals, they become one, and regardless of what it's going to produce an offspring. And that even a lion, he knows his own offspring. He will get rid of all those other offsprings that are nothing, that's not his, that doesn't, he can smell his own DNA for some reason. I don't understand it, but he can. And he gets rid of the males because he knows the secret of the female. She's transitional. So he keeps those, maybe mates with them after they're grown or whatever. They're not his. But the fact is, he will kill the male cubs that she has of another lion once he had won that pride. And the female does nothing about it because she knows and she understands. Take a note from nature. When you lay down with a man, you defiled yourself, unless it's in holy matrimony. See, many of you been subject to, should I say, the West, or should I say devils that have liberal things. These are the same ones that make a man and woman those whom they're not, a gender whom they're not. Grows up in their mind from a child and has them thinking and deceives them in many ways and causes men to be murderers and thieves. This is mental illness. Don't you know devils have authority over your mental capacity? Abraham understood that. You're not mentally ill. You got 3 steps to demon possession or being controlled by devils. But either way, now, and he delivered them into the hands of the Gibeonite. I'm in verse 9, and they hanged them in the hill before the I am, and they fell all 7 together, and they were put to death in the days of harvest, in the first days in the beginning of the barley harvest. And Rizpah, the daughter of Aiah, took sackcloth and spread it for her upon the rock from the beginning of the harvest until the water dropped upon them out of heaven, and suffered neither the birds of the air to rest on them by day, nor the beasts of the field by night. And it was told David, Rizpah, the daughter of Aiah, the concubine of Saul, had done. And David went and took the bones of Saul and the bones of Jonathan his son from the men of Jabesh-Gilead, which had stolen them from the street of Bethshan, where the Philistines had hanged them, and the Philistines had slain Saul of Gilboa. So he brought up from thence the bones of Saul and the bones of Jonathan his son, and they gathered the bones of them that were hanged. And the bones of Saul and Jonathan and his son buried there in the country of Benjamin and Selah and in the sepulchre of Kish his father, and they performed all that the king commanded. After that, God was entreated for the land. In other words, that was a sacrifice. Was that a human sacrifice? You could classify it as that. But it was a vendetta. See, you have to realize what Saul did. Saul was he second-guessed God. God wanted to take all Saul's head out of the way. So it was put in David's heart to do these things. And 14. And the bones of Saul and Jonathan buried they in the country of Benjamin in Zelah, in their homeland, in the sepulchre of Kish his father. And they performed all that the king commanded. After that, God was entreated. Moreover, the Philistines had yet war again with Israel, and David went down and his servants with him and fought against the Philistines. And David waxed faint. So he went against the 10 tribes. He went to help the 10 tribes of Israel. And Ishbibenob, which was the son of the giant, whose spear weighed 300 shekels of brass, and the weight he, being girded with a new sword, thought to have slain David. David was just faint. But Abishai, the son of Zeruiah, helped him, or succored him, and smote the Philistine and killed him. Then the men of David sware unto him, saying, Thou shalt no more go out with us to battle, that thou quench not the light of Israel. In other words, you can see where they got this Isis from. I am the light of the world. No. David was a light because he was chosen by the Most High. The Most High was with him. And when you're with him whom God is with, then God is with you. See, this is the way the mastermind of the universe operates for those of you in scientific circles. Mathematically, chemically, whatever you want to call it, you just figuring out a small portion of God. Trying to figure him out. Trying to figure out how can you get these things. Can you figure out how can a spirit materialize and dematerialize in front of you? Some of you have entertained strangers. There were angels, really. Just as really is written in the books of the Old Testament. You entertained strangers. You did not know they were spirits of the Most High that can materialize and present themselves as flesh. You can touch them, they feel as flesh. Scientific, you're talking about dematerializing. God already mastered that. You don't know nothing. You're just as dumb as water when it comes to the Most High. Yes, he's already mastered that. He can materialize, dematerialize, spiritualize, become flesh again. You're just flesh, man. God allow you to get some type of wisdom and you think you all that in a cup of tea because you have a terminology that other people do not understand. But let's talk layman's terms. And therefore, there was again in Gob with the Philistines, there were, let's continue here. We says now, and it came to pass after this, again, the battle with the Philistines at Gob, that Sibbechai, the Hushathite, slew Saph, which was one of the sons of the giant. Now, this is of the giants of the Philistines. Apparently, maybe their women have had relations with a spirit of the Most High, or a spirit. That they're all spirits of the Most High because he created all things. Even we are spirits of God, which the Greeks call sons. Come on, let's get this word salad together. Let's get this word salad together. We're all sons of God. We all was, in other words, if you're going to go by Greek terminology, we were created, but apart from Greek terminology, we were created spirits, and we are confined, and we're not confined because we did nothing to be confined, but we're here to operate the body that we were assigned to. And with this body, we do have a free will, which is called choice. And those choices are presented by spirits. They're presented by what we learn, our values are created by our mothers and our surroundings and our fathers. Yes. This is where our values come from. Religious or whatever values we have. But it's up to us to understand how we're going to get from these values to the values of the Most High, even our Creator, who is much more than a mother or a father. How are we going to get to this guy? How are we going to get to this entity? This spirit that we don't understand him. No, not even the religious terminology. We don't understand him in knowing his composition or how he works. But we understand his way of how we conduct ourselves toward each other and how we worship him and how we respect him. And that resonates all the way to how we respect each other. You can't call yourself a child of the Creator or one who believes in the Creator and then do your brother any harm. You can't do that unless the Creator have bid you, because this person or this other spirit in this body decides he wants to go against the Creator himself. Then he will choose whether it's spirit or man to come against him. Let's understand and know God through his word. This is how he shows, this is how he reveals himself to you. Now, if you of the scientific community would analyze this thing, instead of you looking in the wrong area, you're looking in the wrong way. Foolish. But anyway, let us continue. Now there was again God, but with Philistine, where Elhanan, the son of Jaregoim, the Bethlehemite, slew the brother of Goliath, the Gittite, and the staff of whose spear was like a weaver's beam. And there was yet a battle in Gath. See, you had Goliath of Gath. Yes, he was a Gathite of the Canaanitish people. And there was a man of great stature and had on every hand 6 fingers. This guy was a freak of nature, wasn't he? And on every foot 6 toes, 24 in number. Now you have to realize warfare is not how big you are. To be a great warrior is really not only with strength, but agility and quickness of mind and knowing what and when and how to subdue your enemy. Doesn't matter. I mean, you take the young man from, I think his name was Anatoly. Looks skinny. I mean, looks like nothing. Then you got these big marbleized muscle men, big, looking like the Hulk, lifting up these big humongous weights. And then his little man comes like, I'm going to sweep the floor with all his humility. He could subdue them in a heartbeat because they're not as agile as he is. This man is nothing but muscle. No fat hardly. There are others like him. But the definition of strength is not in how big you are. Even you can make a cow big and he look muscular, and a bull, he's strong. Yes, he's strong. But he has marbleized muscle. In other words, there's fat entrenched in his muscle. But when you have muscle, just plain muscle like a gorilla, you just got raw strength, period. That's what excited me about this guy, Anatoly. Very, very, very. I said, now I have to look and see how to redefine strength. It's not how big you are. No. Warfare is not how big you are or how many weapons you have. If I can understand how to evade your weaponry, how I can evade your and get close to you where to enough where I can subdue you, then I have won the battle. No matter how big, and you see these big battles and videos, they show the biggest man and them going, no. Don't work like that, my friend. Warfare is a science. Science of mind, science of body, science of technology. How to subdue it, how to get around it in order to accomplish your objective. That's what it is. But either way, there was a man of great stature, 6 fingers, and on every foot 6 toes, and 24 in number. And he also was born to the giant. I don't know what woman handled him, but either way, that was, I think like that sometime, okay? And when he defiled Israel, Jonathan, the son of Shimei, the brother of David, slew him. The brother of David. See, David had a few brethren. If you go back into the first chapter of Samuel, you'll see. And these 4 were born of the giant in Gath, and they fell by the hand of David and by the hand of his servants. Those that served David. And they were not slaves. Just as you have men, some of them are compensated. Most servants are even Abram Terori has servants. If you want to put it in the old English context. But they are there for the protection. They are there for the motivation and to keep the inhabitants of Burkina Faso safe. It is their duty. It's the duty to every young man to keep his neighborhood, number one. Number 1, his family. Number 2, his neighborhood, his city, his state, his country, safe. That's your duty. Now see, this has been perverted over time. I mean, whether you work for selfish corporations now. Selfish people who have their own agenda. But we should only say your family, your neighborhood. Because even if you're not of a certain hue or certain stature, even your law enforcement does not serve and protect you. In other words, they're more against you than they are for you. Now, I'm not telling something that's wrong. It's true by all means throughout all social media and media that these things do happen. Not all, but many. But if we keep the commandments, statutes, and ordinances of the Most High, not trying to figure him out so we can find a weakness in him. This is what man be doing. The only weakness you'll find is in other men and their mentality toward the Most High. God explains himself throughout the scriptures. And those scriptures are not limited to just the 66 books ordained by the Council of Nicaea or the Catholic Church, how you would say it. But the 88, the 100 and something. These books contain vast knowledge of the Most High, who he is. You can look at it in scientific terms, or you can look at it in just spiritual terms, that God is just who he is, the power. In some areas, they call them different names, and we try to understand that, but the religious community tries to say, oh, they're worshiping devils. No, they're not worshiping the devil. It's a nini not nini. In the Yokosa language, you would sit up there and say that's a devil. No, it's not a devil. That means I am that I am. I'm trying to fool you because you are the one that God have pushed away because of your lack of wanting to be correct with your brother, first with your God and with your brother. And with that, if we do these things as far as his commandments, statutes, and ordinances, we will understand God, and also we will be like him. And we will have peace.
Walk with me.